So in this video we'll be finding the privileges our token have. So the token consists of this privileges information, and you can retrieve using the get token information function. Here you can see all of these privileges. You can directly reach the privileges using this whoami priv command, but in the next video we'll be adjusting these privileges using another function. And here you can see I have this privilege assigned, but it is disabled by default. So in the next video we will be enabling this SC shutdown privilege to shut down the computers, which I don't have this privilege because it's disabled. So to adjust this privilege from disabled to enabled, you need to first list down the privileges you have. So that is going to be we are doing in this video. So first we need to access this token handle. Before that we will be opening this process, our get our current process handle. So we can use this using process dot get current process dot handle, and the return type is a pointer, say proc handle, and we'll be using this open process token function, and it resides in advanced WinAPI 32 DLL. And the return type is bool, and the first parameter is process handle, that is a pointer, and the second one is desired access, with what access you want to open this token. So we'll be just querying the token, so we can just use this token query, and the number for this is token query, the constant. So we can say just into token query is equals to this value. And the output is the pointer to this token handle. So reference into pointer, output to the token handle. So let's go and say open process token of, the first one is the process handle, that is the proc handle, and the second one is this token query, and the third one is the reference to first we will be creating a pointer, and we will be passing this token handle, and the output will be, so you can ignore the return type, or you can just put this bool res is equals to function. So we have this token handle, we need to get the information from this. So we can do that using this function called get token information. And the first parameter is the token handle, and second parameter is the token information class. And if you go to this token information class, this is the enum, so it starts with 1 and the remaining values are 2, 3, 4 following from the groups, etc. We will be focusing on token privileges structure. On the left side you will also see the structure, and if you go to this token privileges, here we have the first one is the privilege count, number of privileges our token have, and the second one is a array of structure, and that structure is LUID and attributes. So this LUID is the unique ID that contains, that is the long. So if you go to this LUID and attributes, so first let's define this LUID and attribute structure, and inside we will have this LUID. LUID is a unique value which contains the low part and the higher part. It's just a long value. So based on that, what we are going to do is we are going to fetch the type of the privilege we have. So first let's declare this structure. So we need to create another structure, that is RUID. So let's create that one. And it contains the low part and the high part. So our RUID structure is successful. Now let's go and create this RUID attributes. And the first one is of the type RUID structure RUID. And second one is the dword attributes. So in these attributes we will be placing the value 2 to get this privilege enabled. So you will see the SC privilege enabled and this value is 2. So we have defined this RUID attribute structure. So let's go and define our token privileges structure. The first one is the privilege count, the number of privileges we have. And the second one is the array of the structures. So we need to marshal this one, marshal as, and manage it typed up by value array. And also we need to define the size constant. Let's say 100. So it will already it will create this 100 members. So 100 array of length 100. So it's like a maximum value. If you change this to some 1 or 2, whenever you have privilege count like 10, so you can't fit the 10 privileges arrays into this 5 or 6 size of array. So we are declaring this 100 and we cannot change this dynamically, so we will be assigning 100. Now let's go and I think that's all this structure needs. So you can also copy this. Public enum and you can collapse this one. And the function name is get token information. And the first value is the token handle. And the second one is the token information class structure member, token information class and member, the object. And the third one is the output of this token information. So whatever you specify here, you will get the pointer to this structure. If you specify the token information class dot token privileges, we will be getting the structure to that pointer to the structure. So here you can read the description. And the next one is token information length. So we need to pass the length of this structure we want to query. And the output is the output will also gives you the length of the structure. So to get the length of our structure, first we will be just calling without this pointer as 0 to get the structure length. So we will be calling the second time because we know the length and we can return the structure. Okay, so let's go and call this one get token information. So the first time getting the token privileges length, because we don't know the length. Here you can see this is the dynamic type. We may expect 5 arrays or 6 arrays or 7 arrays, so array of we don't know. So that's why we are going to get the length first. Get token information, and the first one is the token handle, and the second one is token information class dot token privileges. And the third one is we can just say int pointer dot 0 for now, because we are not interested in getting any output. We are interested only getting the output of the length of the structure. So we will need to create a int priv length is equals to 0, and we will be passing this one here priv length and the reference to priv length. Now if I go and print this priv length, we should see actual number other than 0, and also we'll be using the close handle that is from kernel 32, I think. Yes. So we cannot close this handle. The CLR automatically closes because it's managed code, but our token handle is unmanaged because we are using this open process token. So at last we can close handle of token handle, and let's say press any key to continue. So if I go and run this, and here we can see the length is 64. So there is actually the structure is there in this token. So we need to fetch that information. So we need to create a pointer to hold this much of the length. So let's say token privileges marshal dot allocate memory. How much of memory we want to hold this much of the length, priv length. I think we don't need to allocate any memory because we'll be getting in the output pointer. So let's say int ptr dot 0. Let's allocate this memory, I guess. So it should be safe anyway. Get token information of, the first one is token handle and second one is as usual our privileges. Now we need to pass this TP. The information, the structure length is the priv length and the reference to priv length. So here we are sending as input and this one is output. Now we can try to print the priv length. It should be the same as the previous. So okay, we got the pointer, that is TP, that is pointing to this structure token privileges, and here you can see the first one is the privilege count, the size is the 4, and remaining we don't know the size. It's the structure length is 64, we can say that 60, but we don't know the size, it may vary. So what we are going to do is we are going to first fetch this privilege count and then we will loop over this from this pointer plus 4 to the end of this privilege length, and then we will be printing all of these values. So first let's print the privilege count, how many privileges we have. So we need to convert this pointer to the structure. We can use marshal dot pointer to structure. So pass the TP, and the second one is the actual structure type of token privileges. So let's actually call this as a TP pointer. So we got the structure and we can now print the TP dot privilege count. So if I go and run this, and you can see we have the 5 privileges. So these are the 5 privileges. So we got the privilege count, and the next how you find the starting of this Looid array. So here you can see the first one is privilege count, and the starting from then this onwards you will have this array. So what we can do is we can say first int ptr starting pointer is equals to, actually we need to say new int ptr of, we need to convert this pointer to the 64-bit, and then we need to add the size of this privilege count length. So let's do that. So we have TP ptr that is pointing to the starting dot 2 into 64. Let's first say 32. You can also write another program that will that's for 64-bit systems. size of uint. Okay, so what we have done is we have converted this pointer to 32-bit, and then we are adding the size of uint to get the pointer to the first member of the first array of this read attribute. We can say 64. We can also change, right click on this and go to build and change this to any CPU or 64-bit or 32-bit. Now we have this starting pointer. Now what we are going to do is we are going to convert this pointer pointing to the structure to actual structure. So we can say marshal dot pointer to structure, and then we need to say starting pointer and the type of read and attributes. So let's say array A read and attributes, and what I want to do is I want to print this array A dot we need to make this as public. I want to print the high part and the low part. So let's go and print this, and we have some values. So there is a function called lookup privilege name to convert these read values into the corresponding name. So let's copy this. Okay, the first is the system name, so it's null. You can pass the null. The second one is the pointer to the LUID, which is the privilege is known on the target system. So we need to pass the pointer to this LUID structure. So we can say pointer to LUID. And the third one is the name, output name. So we can marshal this one, marshal as unmanaged type dot the string. So white char string, we are going to say string builder. And the last one is the length of this string builder to get into the output. So if you specify 0, it cannot output anything. So we need to specify like 50 or 100 to hold this much of the length. So of course the name of the privilege cannot be more than 100. So reference integer the size. So we'll be let's say int is equals to 100, and then string builder SB string builder of 100. So before that we need to convert this structure to the pointer. Because this is the structure, we need to pass the pointer to the structure. So marshal dot structure to pointer. So we need to create a pointer int ptr, let's say read pointer marshal dot allocate size. So how much of the size we want to allocate, that is length of this one. So marshal dot size of la dot fluid. So this should do fine. So what we are actually doing is we are getting the size of this fluid structure, and then we are allocating the pointer to hold that much of the structure. So whenever we convert this la dot fluid to this pointer, you will get this pointer. So you can pass this to this lookup privilege name w function. So we are going to convert this structure to pointer. So which structure we want to convert? la dot fluid, comma, and what we can do is the next one is fluid pointer, and the third parameter is true. So we got this fluid pointer structure. So all we can do is we can say lookup privilege name, and the first one is the system name, which is null, and the pointer to this fluid structure, which is fluid pointer, and the third one is the output, that is sb, and the last one is the length, reference int. So we are good to go. We can print the sb dot to string. This will give us the privilege we have. So let's go and run this. So let's go and run this, and here you can see we got the privilege name sc shutdown privilege. So that is the first privilege we have. So we want to fetch all the privileges. So what we can do is we can loop over this one. So we have this starting pointer, right? So how much we want to add every time? We want to add every time the size of this fluid attribute structure. So that is what we are going to do now. So for int I is equals to 0, I less than. So how do we know how many privilege we have? By using this tp dot privilege count. So this defines the number of privileges. If you don't put this privilege count, and if you put like say 20 or 30, you will get 5 privileges, and along with the nulls, because we have created this array as the 100 arrays. So we are getting the null value. That's why we want to limit our enumeration to this privilege count, I plus plus. So how to get the starting pointer? So we can say starting pointer is equals to starting pointer dot 2 into 64 plus. So we can say this as a new temporary pointer, temp ptr. So we need to fetch the starting pointer, and how much we want to add every time? We want to add the marshal dot size of type of fluid attributes. So that much if you skip this much of the size, you will get the pointer to the next array. So I can just simply say I into, because we are looping, we want to skip these many number of uh, bytes. So new int pointer of, so make sure these brackets are okay. So we are good to go. So we are converting this starting pointer to an integer, and then we are adding this much of the size every time. So change this to temp pointer, and you will get the root attribute structure, and we are printing them. So I think we are good to go. So let's go and run this. Okay, we got some error. We have got the only few privileges. We did not get the remaining two. We got the values, but we are unable to print them. So I think so. Let's first I think copy this, paste here. I think these sizes are different, I guess. So let's say Marshall dot size of LAA2. I think let's put another brackets here. So let's run this again. I think let's change this to 32. Still we are getting the different values for this. So I have found this error because of this uint. So this high part should be the integer, not is it should not be the long, because the long obviously takes 8 bytes. So we got that error there. So change this to int, and now let's go and run this one. And here we can see we got in the same order: shutdown, change, notify, undock, and remaining these two. So you can also see these root values here. The high part is always 0, and only the lower part differs. So that's all for this video. So sorry for these mistakes. So these data types, you need to assign these very carefully, otherwise the pointer gets we get to the wrong location, and we will be converting that to structure, and obviously we will get the wrong values.